I am a SAP APO trainer from Implats. Now I am going to tell about what is about SAP APO. In the today's session, I will cover what is about SAP APO. What are the modules we have in the SAP APO? In those modules, I will discuss briefly about one specific module. This is all about the overview of the model, overview of the APO. By the end of this session, we'll get to know about what is an APO, what is the use of the APO, why you are going for this APO, and what are the modules in the SAP APO. These are the things you get to know by the end of this session. Before going to discuss about the SAP APO, I'm going to discuss about the supply chain management. Why I'm going to discuss about supply chain management? This SAP APO is a planning tool, which means that let me elaborate. SAP APO is a planning tool, which means that it takes past history data, which is nothing but sales history data, and generate forecast for future periods. Which means that it considers past history data, which means sales history or sales invoice, and generate forecast for future periods. Which means that this planning tool is only to do the planning only, not for the production. Not for the production. It will generate only the planning results, which means that in the future, how much quantity you want to produce, how much quantity we want to generate. You can do all those things with the help of SAP APO. It is a tool. It's not a technology. SAP APO is a tool in the SCM platform. SCM means supply chain management. Supply chain management, it's nothing but a flow of demand and flow of supply. It leads to business development. If there is no proper supply chain management, the business will not move in the correct manner. To maintain a proper supply chain management, APO has inbuilt tools. Different tools. APO has different inbuilt tools. Among them, SAP APO is one of the best. Apart from the SAP APO, we have SAP EWM, which means that extended warehouse management. Transport management, etc. These are all the tools we have in supply chain management. Supply chain management is not only about the planning. Supply chain management is a combination of planning, transportation, production, execution. Not production, execution. In simply term, we can derive supply chain management is a combination of planning, execution, and transportation. The combination of all these three, it leads to a good supply chain management. Among all these three, APO is belong for the planning purpose. It's only belong for the planning purpose. For planning purpose, for execution, for transport. Here, let me derive a small. Let me explore about the supply chain management in small discussion. In the previously, I told that supply chain management, it is nothing but flow of demand and flow of supply. Here, flow of demand is. Let me complete this derivation. I will give after that. I will show with one example what is SCM, how SCM is working. Customer tends to retailer, distributor, manufacturer, supplier. Supplier, manufacturer, distributor, retailer, customer. This means that here flow of demand, flow of supply is certain. For example, if I want to buy a car, first of all, I went to retailer shop. Retailer shop is showroom, in terms of showroom. I made a request. I put a request, and I will give the delivery, and I will give the delivery date also for the showroom. I want this car by this date. Then the showroom owner will contact to their higher authority, which means that those for them, those who supply the car, they reach to them, which means that the distributor, they are the distributors. Once they get confirmation from the distributor, they will confirm us, okay, I will provide you the car by this time. Okay, here distributor, what they do then, they made a request to the manufacturer. After manufacturer get the components. Here the car is had been manufactured in the manufacturing plant. To do the manufacturing, we need raw materials. Raw materials is types, batteries. These are all things. These are the raw materials. Comes in raw materials. It's nothing but suppliers. They will the plant buys these raw materials from the external vendors. They are nothing but suppliers. Once the car is prepared, the manufacturer, that means manufacturing plant, send the required quantity of cars to the distributor. The distributor, they distribute their cars to the according to the demand. They distribute the cars to the retailers, and finally you get it from the customer. If we maintain flow of demand, flow of supply in a proper manner, then only the business will run in a good manner. This complete thing will handle with the help of APO. Supply chain management is nothing but is flow of demand, flow of supply, which means that to maintain this flow of demand, flow of supply in a proper manner, we use SAP APO for planning purpose. With the help of this SAP APO, we can maintain this flow of demand, flow of supply in a correct manner. Most of the companies, most of the clients, they are using SAP APO. 70% of the business, they're prescribing the SAP APO only. APO. SCM is a platform. It's a platform. It's a platform. Here, SAP APO, SAP EWM, transfer management there are tools. Apart from the SAP, we have Oracle SCM, Oracle also to do the perfect for the SCM. Do the work as to maintain SCM, supply chain management. But the Oracle SCM is also running in a good manner. But 70% of business people prefer SAP APO. Why? Because the main reason why they prefer SAP, 70% business SAP, why the reason is they have some additional features. SAP APO has some additional features. I will discuss those features in the coming classes. But if I discuss here also, it will come a little bit confusion. That's why I would not like to discuss here. Just remember this point: 70% of people prefer SAP APO. Why? Because the SAP APO has some specific features rather than the Oracle SCM. Okay. Coming to the scope of APO. This is a oldest tool, and I think it's amongst in 1992 it was started. SAP APO is started in 1992. Before that, SAP APO, the planning, all those things was done in SAP ECC system itself only. But it not provide that much effective results. Business people will not satisfied with those results. That's why they separate the planning. They separate the planning from SAP ECC, and they create one new tool, SAP APO, with additional features. Now the SAP APO is running in the smoothly manner only. But in coming days, SAP APO will going to vanish. Yes, SAP itself confirmed that they are going to close the SAP APO by 2025, and they're going to introduce full-fledged SAP IBP. SAP IBP. But here, those who are good in the SAP APO, those guys only they can able to handle SAP IBP. Why? Because whatever modules cover in the SAP APO, those modules are available in SAP IBP. The only change is the graphical user interface, which means that in the SAP APO we are using the SAP login pad, but in the SAP IBP you don't use a SAP login pad. We are using here we are using web link. With the help of web link, we can do the configurations. 90% of all SAP APO concepts are included in the SAP IBP. Only 10% is different, which means that those who are good in the SAP APO, they can only handle the SAP IBP. Okay. There is no prerequisites. Yeah, come to the prerequisites. To learn SAP APO, we no need to learn any. We no need to any prerequisites. It is better to have a knowledge on those who are coming from the MBA background. MBA background, they will get it is easily understood to them. Here we are using some business terminologies. They already MBA guys, they already know about this business terminologies that they can get the points easily. But it's not a mandatory. It's not a mandatory. Anybody can learn the SAP. But those who are MBA guys, they can easily catch these points. That's all only. Big reason. No need to learn anything. No need to learn. Okay. Okay. This is about the SAP APO. Let me repeat once again. SAP APO is a planning tool. It's a planning tool. The purpose of this tool is it considers past history data. That means it takes input as a history data, which means history data means sales history, sales invoice, and generate forecast. Here, forecast is a predicted value. Forecast means in general term. Forecast is business terminology. In general terminology, we can say that forecast is the predicted values. That means which means that let me explain this with one small example. Example, okay, just consider Tata Nano. Now consider Tata Nano car, for example. I'm taking past 2 years sales history. 2 years sales history of the Tata Nano with the help of APO tool. As input, with the help of APO tool, I am going to predict. That means in coming days, how many cars I will sold. With the help of this APO tool, I can get the predicted values for future 2 years. With the help of past sales history, the last 3 years, how much sales was happened, and with the help of by using SAP tool, now I get the predicted values of in future how I can sell, how much I can sell. This is the main motive of the SAP APO. Okay, then next go to the next details about SAP APO modules. In SAP APO, we have 4 modules. Those are demand planning, supply network planning, production planning, and data fulfilling. Available promise. These 4 modules we have in SAP APO: demand planning, supply network planning, production planning, data scheduling, global available to promise. These 4 modules are for planning. Each module has a different strategies to do the planning. For example, demand planning, is a monthly cycle. Supply network planning is a weekly cycle. Production planning, in the production planning, with the help of production planning, we can do hourly basis planning. In this hour, we have to produce this much forecast values. In the next hour, we can produce this much forecast values. Just then next, finally, global available promise is this module is mainly for to plan the yes, this module is mainly H&H. Yeah, I'm sorry. Okay, it's going to give the let me come across about the global available promise. This global available to promise module, it gives the order delivery or shipping date. It will confirm. That means when we get this order, when we get this order date, when we get this ordered product, but with the help of this GATP, we can get this all about these things. Among these four modules, I am going to cover demand planning and supply network planning only. PPDS and GATP I will not go to cover. I will not going to cover. I will cover only demand planning and supply network planning. In most of the companies, most of the projects, demand planning, supply network planning is 70%. 70% of business is using demand planning and supply planning. 30% they are using remaining 30% they are using production planning to GATP also. But most of the business, 70% of business they are using demand planning and supply planning. This and in SAP IBP also, in SAP IBP, which is after 2025, SAP APO will get replaced by SAP IBP. In SAP IBP also, only demand planning, assets and supply network planning was only there. The production plan, PPDS and GATP will not be there in the SAP IBP. This PPDS and GATP will included in the SAP ECC2. Okay. Now I'm going to discuss about one of the module in the SAP APO, that is SAP APO demand planning. Here I will give only the overview of the SAP APO DP today. In the coming sessions, I will provide the configuration, how we configure this SAP APO DP in the SAP open panel. First of all, I would like to give some briefly about what is APO DP, what is the life cycle of the SAP APO DP, what are the features and the integration parts in the SAP APO DP. These are all things I am going to discuss. Okay. Yes, in the previous, I already discussed what's the use of the SAP APO. That same thing. The APO demand planning is nothing but to calculate and determine future demand to improve demand quality and accuracy. With the help of APO demand planning, we are going to calculate and determine future demand to improve demand quality and accuracy. Come to the features of the APO demand planning. Now, a comprehensive forecasting tool set, which means that to generate the forecast values, means to generate the predicted values. Here, the forecast is nothing but the predicted values. To generate the predicted values, SAP APO DP has some inbuilt algorithms. That means inbuilt formulas. We have some inbuilt formulas. With the help of these formulas, we get accurate results. Accurate, 98%, 90% correct predicted results we get with the help of this APO DP. Next feature is the statistical forecasting with causal and time series method. Selection of the best fit model, which means that this APO DP tool generates the predicted values. Generate the predicted values exact model. Generate the predicted values, which is generate the predicted values. It is accurate. Those are accurate. Why? Because it considers the history values. It considers the past. For example, it considers past 3 years history values. I already discussed that APO DP tool has some inbuilt algorithms, inbuilt formulas. With the help of these inbuilt formulas, APO tool will checks, okay, with this history, which formula is best suited for with this history. For example, if some products are seasonal products, some products are seasonal products. Here we are doing the planning not only for the automobiles, we are doing the planning for the food and beverages, cosmetic food and beverages. For pharmaceuticals, we can for pharmaceuticals, automobiles and mobile phones. For many of the items, we are doing the planning. Okay. Then next, automatic outer layer detection available. Okay. If any, okay, if while generating the predicted values, if there any error, the system will found it. It will describe this with this error with the help of some error methods. That means automatically the value gets corrected by changing the models. If you found any error values in the screen, that means system, then that means you are not, that means business not satisfied with these values. With that system generated values, we have another option to correct it. Like once the forecast value is generated, parallelly we get the error values also. If error value is less than 2, that means they give some parameter, they give some values to the error values. If error value is less than 2, which means that it's okay, it's good for the, the values are good. If error value is greater than 2, this model is not best fit model, we can choose another model. The system generated model is not satisfied with the user, with the business, then we can go for other model. We can change the different models in the inter-demand planning scheme directly. Then we get the accurate values. Then the forecast error will get modified automatically. Here we have life cycle planning concepts. Life cycle planning is I will discuss this life cycle planning going forward. Plan promotions, track, monitor, forecast accuracy, seasonal planning, collaborative and demand planning. These are all the features. These are all things I'm going to discuss in coming going forward. The main benefit of using APO demand planning tool is improved forecast quality. Forecast quality get improved with the help of APO demand planning. And one tool for power and business users, which means that with the help of APO DP tool, business and developers can work on a single tool. Business they can view the values in the front end. The back end developers has to work on the back end side. Okay. The next. Okay. Let me discuss about the demand planning cycle. DP cycle is simply some internal DP cycle. How the DP cycle is work. I already discussed that APO DP is mainly to generate the predicted values by considering the past history values. Okay. Okay. Let me elaborate about the demand planning cycle here. Let me copy this. Okay. First of all, the first step in the demand planning life cycle is import relevant master and transactional data, which means that first step. Which means that import master and transactional data to do. Okay. Here to do planning techniques to generate predicted values, we want some history data. APO tool will get the input as a history data. APO don't have any history data. They get don't have any history data. They get the history data from some other system. APO is only to generate the forecast value. APO tool is only to generate the forecast value. It will not generate any history values. This tool is only used to generate predicted values or forecast values. To generate these predicted values, APO tool need history data. This history data, we get this history data from SAP ECC. Okay. With the help of SAP ECC, we get the sales history data into the APO. With this reference of this history data, APO tool generate the forecast values. Here, master and transactional data, which means that in going forward, I will explain now about what is the master and transactional data. But now simply just consider APO take the history data from the SAP ECC and generate the forecast values. Okay. One more thing here. To connect SAP, we have to get the data to get the history data from ECC to APO. We have some connections. Directly is not possible to get the data from SAP ECC to APO. We have connections. Those connections are made with the help of SIF. Here SIF means core interface. With the help of SIF, we can transfer the master and transactional data from SAP ECC to SAP APO. Okay. Here master and transactional data is nothing but this data. The SAP, the data transfer has happened in terms of master and transactional data, only with in between SAP ECC and SAP APO. Okay. First point is getting input. APO is a tool. APO is a planning tool only. You don't have any history values. To get the history values, it requires to get the history to do the planning. It gets the history values from the SAP ECC tool. Okay, that is the first point. Second point. Once in the APO history values are there, the next step is analyze and prepare data. Analyze and prepare data. Here in this step, business people will check and analyze the data and perform correction if any. Okay, Which means that once the history data is available in the APO tool, business people review that history data. They will review the history data. Okay, the history values are correct. History values okay. Are the history values are this history values they are okay, or they want to do any changes on history values. Okay. Once they did the analysis and corrections, the next step is generate forecast and apply lifecycle management. Yes, the third step is generate forecast and apply lifecycle management. First step is getting data from ECC to getting history data from ECC to APO. Now we have history data. The second step is business review that history data. If they want to do any changes, they can. The next step is APO tool has a history data. Now the real work is going to start here. APO tool generate the forecast values by using inbuilt algorithms. APO tool generate forecast values by using algorithms. Okay, which means that the third step is APO tool. APO tool consider has the history data, corrected history data. That means once APO to get the history data from ECC to APO, business analyze and correct the data, then that history get corrected. With the corrected history data, system generates the forecast values. That means system with the considering with the corrected history, system automatically predicts, okay, which one is best suited with these history values. They assign that best fit forecast model to that history values and generate the forecast values. This is the third step. Fourth step is plan promotion. In the first step, once forecast values are generated, business people means that business people review the forecast, and parallelly and additionally, not parallelly, additionally, sales and marketing team, they are going to add the promotions, which means that for some products, with the help of, okay, here I need to add some point. This is add some point. Okay, to run the business in a proper manner, promotions is also plays a key role. But these promotions will handled by sales and marketing team. Does not come under this forecasting tool. This is a separate department. Promotions is a separate department. That's why due to that impact, once the forecast value generated from the APO tool, the sales and marketing team, they add the promotion values if necessary. If in most of the cases, sales and marketing and promotions are necessary. In most of the cases, for some cases it's not necessary, but in most of the cases promotions are necessary. Due to these promotions, values will get vary. In that case, once the forecast value generated, once forecast values generated, sales and marketing team going to add promotions. Okay. The first step is compare and evaluate differential model, which means that scenarios, which means that once the APO DB2 generates the forecast values, after the forecast is generated, sales and marketing team going to add the promotions. After that, business managers have a consensus meeting. Consensus meeting. Here, consensus meeting means in this consensus meeting, a business manager, sales manager, marketing manager will sit together. A consensus meeting is nothing but a business manager, sales manager, marketing manager just sit together, and they sit together. They review the forecast values, and correct it, and they make corrections if needed. They are going to corrections. Once the value gets generated from the APO/DP, okay, APO/DP, sales and marketing, they are going to add the promotions. After that, business manager, sales manager, and marketing manager, they conduct a consensus meeting. In that meeting, they are going to review the complete forecast values. For here, forecast value is the third step plus fourth step, means generate forecast and plan promotions. Once they review that values, finally they get one exact number. Review the final demand plan. After the consensus meeting, they get one final value. It means that finally they review that final demand value. Once the demand value is generated, this value is, that means forecast value, generated forecast value is going to release to POSNP or transfer to SAP APO. Okay. Once consensus meeting completed, the final value gets generated. Final value gets generated in the system. The final value is nothing but the forecast value. Finally, the forecast value, that means planning is done, then you get the forecast values. Once we get the forecast values, we are going to send this forecast value to either APO/SNP or transfer to SAP ECC. When we are going to move, when we are going to release this forecast value to SAP to APO/SNP, and when we are going to transfer this demand values to SAP ECC. Here we have two conditions. That means release to APO/SNP and transfer to SAP ECC. Really, if you want to do weekly planning. If you want to do weekly planning, that means for some products, for some products, monthly planning is enough. For some products, weekly planning is necessary. If you want to go for the weekly planning, SAP APO SNP, we need APO SNP. After the APO DP, we need APO SNP. No, we don't want any weekly planning. We are okay with these values. So we are going to generate these values. If you want that, if you want to go like that, directly we transfer these values to SAP ECC for the production purpose. Okay. Due to all these things, demand planning is a monthly cycle. These are all these all activities happen every month. So demand planning is a monthly cycle. Okay, this is about the briefly about demand planning. APO demand planning life cycle. This is the important one in the most of the interviews. In many interviews, in each interview they will ask about the demand planning. Discuss they elaborate about the demand planning life cycle. Yeah. These are all the steps we need to remember, and in this way only the demand planning going to be done. Okay. Then next topic is DP setup and activities. This is a complete configuration part. This is a configuration part. Okay. Going forward, I will discuss each and everything. But here I am giving a glance about the config. What are the steps we have to do in the configuration. This will be difficult to understand. It will be some difficult to understand, but now. But going forward, you get to know clearly. Here, the demand planning setup, mainly we have to create MPOS, planning area, storage bucket, time bucket profiles, master forecast profiles, planning book, data views, selection, statistical forecast, univariate forecast profiles. After all this combination, we get the final results in the interactive demand planning screen. And finally, that value will pass to the SMP or transfer to the ECC. Yes. Let me tell about the demand planning functionality. The demand planning functionalities are interactive planning details, statistical forecasting methods, macros, alert management, lifecycle management, cannibalization, promotion planning, seasonal planning, and consensus planning. Let me elaborate each functionality one by one. First of all, interactive planning details. Interactive planning details is here we are doing the configuration, each and every configuration in the background. Right? But finally, we and business review the values in a single screen. There is nothing but an interactive demand planning screen. Single screen, we and business review the values in the single screen. In this screen, we have different functionalities, which was helpful to, which is easily understood. For example, we can see the values in tabular format, graphical format, and in both also. And we have the features like we can add text to that particular field also. If you want to add any text to any particular field, we can do here. We can do here. And we have the functionality. We have features like data representation, different periodicities and origins, creation of data groups based on user specific. These are all those things I will show you in at the time of configuration time. But just remember that the APDP functionality is APDP has the functionality is interactive planning details. Which in this interactive planning, we and business review the data in a single screen. The next functionality is statistical forecasting methods. A statistical forecasting method is an APO-DP tool inbuilt that has different algorithms. That means, which is nothing but different formulas to generate predicted values, which means that forecast values. To generate forecast values, APO-DP has inbuilt algorithms. Among it will the values will get generated after that means which means that according to sales history data, SAP automatically suggests suitable algorithm. In the previously I already discussed that by considering the corrected history values, SAP DP tool automatically assign one algorithm and generate the predicted values. SAP provided forecast error in case of any discrepancies in forecast values. That means the forecast values, if you found any wrong in the forecast value, that means if the system found any wrong in the forecast values, they provide a forecast errors also. The forecast errors with the help of that forecast errors, the business get to know that okay, we can go with this algorithm or another one. Like that, we can take the decision. Business can take the decision. Okay. Let me give some sample algorithms and their functionalities. Constant model, trend model, season without trend model, trend season model, and others. With the help here, constant models they have some functionalities like exponential smoothing with alpha adaptation, moving average, moving weighted average constant. These are all the additional formulas in the constant algorithm. These are all things we're going to know about. We're going to know about in coming classes. Finally, I will convey that current data, corrected current data. Here, current data is history data. Once the API get the history data from SAP system, then business will correct that history data. Finally, then once we have the calculation, the APO-DP tool, forecast is generated with the help of inbuilt algorithms. There's nothing but a statistical forecasting methods. Then we get the corrected forecast values. After the corrected forecast values, we have some promotions, consensus meeting here. These are after all those things, we get the final forecast. Yeah, we have SAP generates the forecast errors if system found any differences in the values. The forecast errors are here like there are the forecast errors forecast error parameters like error total, mean percentage error, mean absolute percentage error, mean squared error, root mean squared error, mean absolute deviation. With all these error parameters, business can decide, okay, we are good with this algorithm, or we can proceed with some other algorithm with the help of this error. This much functionality we have in the SAP APO. The another functionality is alert management. In the simple term, alert management is it will alert the users if any value is going to if any if any forecast value is exceeded borders defined by the users. That means business want the forecast value up to the this level only. Beyond that, they don't want it. If the values will move beyond, if the values will exceed beyond that, automatically business get automatically alert message. Here the alerts are communicated to the user by different channels, like alert monitor in the SAP APO, by mail, by SMS. This is the one of the functionality. The another is the macros. Here the macro is nothing but to do the complex calculation. To do the complex calculation, APO has some inbuilt APO DPA has a good function. A good feature is a macros. By using macros, we can do complex calculations. Macros are executed either directly. The APO macros are executed either directly by the user in type demand planning, or automatically at predefined point in the time during a background jobs. Okay, in simply we can say that with the help of macros we can do the complex calculation. We can do this complex calculation either in the inter demand planning directly, or we can do it in the background. These are all those functionalities I will show in the coming classes with the help of configuration points. Life cycle management. Here, life cycle management has let me elaborate this thing. For example, consider one product. In one location. The product has a good sales and good sales in the one location, and they are going to plan. And that means that company are going to plan that launch that product in some other location. They are going to plan. But they don't have history for that location. That means they don't have any history values for that location. That means they don't have any previous sales data for that new location. Why? Because there is a newly launched in that location. In that cases, it will consider the previous locations. That means already sales happened, already demand happened locations. It will consider the sales of the old location, and with the help of these old locations, they generate the forecast values to this new location for the product with the help of lifecycle management. This is nothing but the live modeling. Additionally, we have phase in and phase out. That means business want to maintain one product for a specific time period. And after that, they don't want this product, they are going to vanish the product. Like Apple, they consider Apple iPhones. If you consider the Apple iPhones, we have every 6 months we have some new series. Every year we have new series, and also old series will get vanished. That means that example, consider iPhone 4S. iPhone 4S, they're going to launch. They're going to maintain this product for 1 year. After that, they don't want to they don't want to continue with this product. They're going to shut down the product. Shut down that product. To do this, we can use the lifecycle management technique. This can be done with the help of APO/DP. Next, promotional planning. I already discussed promotion. In the promotional planning, sales and marketing team will have enter in this promotional planning, and we have different tools to do the promotional planning. The multi-level promotions, cannibalization, post-promotion analysis. These I will going to discuss in the coming classes. Cannibalization. This is one of the feature in the APO demand planning. Here the cannibalization means let me give some small example for cannibalization before going to understand about this. Consider Coca-Cola cool drink. Now we have the 250 ml bottles, 200 ml bottles, Coca-Cola bottles, plastic bottles. Before that, we have glass bottles. In the past, most of the people using glass bottles only. And this they newly launched the plastic bottles. With the release of these new bottles, the sales might get impact on the old bottles. This maintenance, that means if you increase with these combinations, that means with these different situations, the forecast value will get vary. Why? Because initially, once this plastic bottles introduced, we don't plastic bottles don't have that much demand. The demand is with glass bottles only. Slowly, the now the plastic bottles completely get the complete use, and this glass bottles will get managed. In this situation, also planning also has to be done. That means forecast values. Uh, what forecast get impacted to the glass bottles, and what forecast values get impacted to the plastic bottles. You can get the forecast values also with the help of APO tool. This is the meaning of the cannibalization. Consensus demand planning. These are all the consensus demand planning is nothing but promotions. Something but a sales and marketing team. Have a meeting with sales and marketing managers. Have a meeting with the business managers. To add once the sales and manager team add the promotions, they have a meeting with the business partners, they will review the forecast values, and they're going to finalize on forecast values. This is this has to be done in the consensus demand planning. Collaborative demand planning. Here, the collaborative demand planning is simply we can tell it as a collaborative demand planning. If any key customer is there, here key customer means the total revenue. In total revenue, 30% of revenue getting from a particular customer. That customer is a key customer. Okay. If any key customer they want to change the values, that means that key customer review the forecast values. Okay, if they are satisfied with the values, okay, it will process. If they are not satisfied with the values, they want to do sudden changes. If they want to do sudden changes, we can give the access of the system, access of the demand planning directly to the key customer. Here, the key customer this functionality is applicable only for the key customers only, which means which means that in total revenue, 30% of revenue getting from a particular customer. For the customers only, we are going to APO going to this giving this functionality. This functionality is only for the key customers only. Okay. These are all about functionalities of APO. And if you get into the integration part, here integration part is integration is nothing but in the previously I told you that in SAP APO you can do only the planning. You don't have any history values. We get the history values from the external SAP ECC system. Okay, the SAP and the SAP ECC system, and you get the history data from the non-SAP system also. Non-SAP system also we can get. To get the history values from the SAP ECC system, we use the core interface. We use the core interface as an interface between SAP ECC and APO. If it is a non-SAP system, we use the BAPIs. Okay, here in this screenshot, this is a complete APO server, and this is the ECC server. This APO server is connected to the ECC server with the help of core interface, or This APO server is connected with the non-SAP system with the help of BAPs. In the APO server, we have demand planning, supply network planning, production planning and data scheduling, GATP, and this is a live cache is a database. That means that it's a live cache is acts as a database. Whatever data in the APO, it has to going to store in the live cache. Without live cache, the system will not work. This complete server come under the SAP SCM. This complete APO, this complete APO tool is come under supply chain SCM server, SAP SCM server. Okay. This is about the today class. Thank you.